Let's face it, anarchy servers like 2b2t aren't really that hard anymore. If anything, it's probably easier than vanilla survival with all the duped items along with a plethora of hacks in your disposal, and even highly advanced artificial intelligence like baritone that can literally escape spawn for you automatically. But wait, what if you just had one shot to survive? What if you couldn't rely on hacks and cheats to do everything in fear of a glitch leading to death? What kind of chaos would ensue? Would organization and group efforts happen? Would there even be anything interesting as players cower in fear? Would the server even stay alive with players constantly dying? That's what Horizon Anarchy is here to answer. I'll be walking you through some of the amazing things that truly talented players have done with just a single life in a hellscape with no rules. Welcome to Horizon Anarchy, the anarchy server with the most bans. But before we start, I want to quickly thank Sparktos for sponsoring this video. Sparktos is one of the highest quality and most affordable server hosting solutions out there, but more on them later. Prequel. It all started 2 years ago. I was just curious if a hardcore Minecraft server existed, and with the help of Google found 2b2t. It wasn't actually hardcore, but I enjoyed it nonetheless as I recently quit a pay-to-win Minecraft server that I've been playing on for 6 years and founded a faction known as the Horizon. But through this time I was curious about what would happen if 2b2t was hardcore. Of course it would die too quickly, but then I suddenly became a YouTuber and found myself in the perfect opportunity to try something like this, as I can keep the server IP on my channel page for a constant flow of new players. I then got two of my devs, G Basil and that guy, to help me with this endeavor. I scheduled an announcement 2 days earlier to build up hype, and now 2 days later the announcement was about to go off, so we enjoyed the last bit of peace until chaos struck. Day 1, launch day. Immediately once the IP was dropped, people began joining in. Unfortunately, the random server host I was using at the time really couldn't handle the amount of players joining in, and the TPS tipped quickly. And as the TPS lowered, players began hiding underground and in walls as they couldn't risk death. The TPS just kept lowering as I was running on the latest versions of Minecraft, which are far more strenuous on the CPU. But as players became more and more stacked and powerful, it wasn't long until they began fighting each other. But despite the low TPS and the hardcore nature, it wasn't long until friendships emerged too. Players struggled to survive as the TPS was dipping to nearly unplayable levels. But some succeeded, grinding enchanted diamond gear and bypassing a horrible anti-cheat, which also made players stuck. While working on fixing the anti-cheat, we opened up a Discord server for players to get teleported out by admins, as we couldn't kill them due to it being hardcore. While looking for someone to help, I found this guy stuck in the ground, and when I was about to teleport him out, another player just came and saved him, which was quite surprising on this server. In fact, the player that he saved, who's known as Lightning Bulb, was actually on his way to be the first one to get the Ender Dragon. The race to the Ender Dragon. Lightning Bulb was determined to get the dragon egg first and posted his entire journey on YouTube. He gathered some gear, found a stronghold, and entered it. Unfortunately, the dragon knocked him off and he died. But soon enough, the player that saved him, who's known as Phosphorate, went ahead and got the dragon egg first, making him the unofficial king of the server. Soon after, he fought the Wither, making him the first person to get the dragon egg and the Nether star. He even fought the Wither with the dragon egg in his inventory. Spawn lava casts. In less than a day, players built lava casts at spawn. Lava casting, at least this early in the server's existence, is one of the most dangerous things you can do, as you're just one misstep away from falling into the lava you placed or falling off the cast. What's interesting is that these two players were lava casting right next to each other. This was very dangerous, but they probably didn't attack each other because they wanted to stay peaceful and not start conflict. Now the server began looking more like a true hellscape. The Invisible Sign Valley. A player by the name of Drinking Carrots really wanted to plug his YouTube channel. So badly so that he placed an entire valley of signs at spawn with nothing more than simple and basic iron armor. He placed a lot of signs. But unfortunately, the sign value was way too laggy on the FPS, getting me lower than 30 FPS most of the time, so I had to remove it, as with a vanilla client the lag would be absolutely unbearable. I first decided to try out World Edit, but for some reason, it just didn't work. I tried a lot of things, but then decided to remove it and add it back because I was just lost. But then the signs became invisible. I don't know how it happened or even how to reverse it, nor did I properly know how to remove signs with World Edit, so there just wasn't much I could do. The lag was gone anyways, so I guess I completed my job and decided to silently move away. Still, it's a mystery to me why these signs became invisible. It's probably a World Edit bug, but I'll just let this video be my bug report. The Spawn Cafe. Carrots was upset about his channel plug being removed, so he decided to build a sign plugging his YouTube channel out of wood at the center of the world, and he even built a cafe right underneath it for players to stop by and meet each other. But as cool as it was made out of wood, which was very easy to grieve, so as fast as it came, it disappeared. But the Spawn Cafe truly never died. Players kept constantly rebuilding out of new materials, at least for quite a while. The Spawn Cafe was first rebuilt by JohnCar66, which was now made of cobblestone instead, but it still kept its general shape, and was the same as the old cafe but patched up. But obviously with some TNT, it wouldn't last for long, so the Spawn Cafe was rebuilt yet again with a greater variety of materials. They even had an elytra departure area, but it was still quite easy to get blown up though. So now it has been rebuilt yet again, but out of obsidian. This time it was much harder to grief and was now a significant nether portal hub for players to go to. Although this lasted for much longer, it was still often renovated by the player base. Like for example, they added trees here. And they even built a sign wall for passerbys to place their names. What surprises me is how it hasn't been griefed yet. Another player expanded the Spawn Cafe by adding multiple nether portal layers. They even created this insane elytra stunt course. I also decided to try it out myself. Unfortunately, time caught up with the Spawn Cafe. As of the present day, the Spawn Cafe is now entirely gone and now replaced by this lava cast. But there are still many more impressive things on this server. The Nether infrastructure. Originally, we decided to keep the Nether roof enabled. I thought it would be vanilla as I wanted to keep the server as vanilla as possible, but that was definitely a huge mistake. Some players have traveled so far, our server host could literally not hold any more storage, despite telling us that we had unlimited storage, which is insane. But unfortunately, we had to disable the Nether roof. Now without the Nether roof, it was now much harder to travel to bases and advance to different locations. As travel became very difficult, players knew they had to build highway systems to move around. At the start, the Nether hub was small and insignificant. Since you could travel on the Nether roof, there really wasn't much of a reason to spend so much time making one. Once the Nether roof was disabled, players instantly began expanding the Nether hub, which allowed easy access around the spawn region, and then lined it with obsidian. Nether highways became longer and longer as players worked together to build them. They provided a reliable and easy method of transportation for the player base to use, as having a flat path allowed players to AFK and not have to travel directly through the Nether, which risked falling into a lava pocket or getting blasted off by a ghast. The Spawn Melon Ring. The Melon Ring is a massive circle surrounding spawn that has a radius of over 1,000 blocks, which was constructed by JohnCar66. JohnCar66 wanted to help new players and knew food was a good way to help, so making a farm would be good. JohnCar wanted to make a melon farm because it didn't need to be replanted, allowing it to last longer. She needed to place it somewhere but couldn't place it at the center of the world because it would way too easily be griefed. She was thinking of putting it 1,000 blocks out but didn't know what direction to put it in. So instead, she chose all directions. This melon ring consists of farmland, dirt, and obsidian, put together like a sandwich with melons and planted over it. The melon ring was made entirely by hand, no hacks, no nothing. And she used an online pixel circle generator as reference. And she even carved through the terrain for the ring road. It is truly incredible. All of this was done so close to spawn without dying once. A feat of this magnitude is absolutely insane, as not only would it be impressive on normal survival with dupes and also auto build hacks where you could respawn, but on a hardcore Minecraft server without any publicly known dupes or automatic building hacks. But before we move on, I want to thank SparkToast for sponsoring this video. There are seemingly endless server host options out there, so finding an affordable and quality server host is confusing, but you should definitely take a look at SparkToast. They have Minecraft server hosting starting from just a singular dollar for the whole month, with free 100 gigabit per second DDoS protection, 24/7 uptime, multiple different locations, 3 free SQL databases, 50 to 250 gigabytes of storage, 24/7 unlimited live web support, automatic task scheduling, and a beautiful dashboard to make setting up your server very easy. If you think setting up a Minecraft server is difficult, they have server file pre-installs, meaning you can get it set up and running in just a few minutes. It does all the headache-inducing setup work for you. They also offer web hosting and dedicated servers and Discord bot hosting too. And if all of that isn't good enough, you can use my discount code HORIZON for 33% off your first billing cycle, or click the link in the description. And if you're still skeptical, they offer free trials so you can try it out yourself before you buy it. You can check it out by going to sparktoast.com. Thank you, SparkToast, and now on with the video. The journey to the world border. Around launch day, a player known as Zoki04 wanted to reach the world border and had a few options to do so. Every block in the Nether is 8 blocks in the overworld, so it's much faster in the Nether, as instead of having to travel 30 million blocks in the overworld, you can travel just 3.75 million in the Nether, which although still a lot is a far more reasonable amount. But there's just too much stuff in the way of the Nether for that to work, especially so far. But above the Nether is a roof, which is perfectly flat that can easily be entered with just a ladder and some ender pearls. You move around 4.3 blocks a second when walking, which will take 10 days in total, but is just too slow. Sprint jumping is much faster at 7.1 and only takes 6 days but takes up too much food. But horses can travel about 9 blocks a second on average, with some horses going up to 14 blocks a second, taking just 3 days to travel. Just note that all these numbers are if the conditions are perfect and will likely take longer. So an ambitious Zoki04 took it upon himself to travel to the world border. He grabbed a horse and near launch, he headed to the Nether roof and then turned on an auto walk hack to reach the world border automatically. And as the days went by, he finally reached the milestone and recorded it.
This is it.
Holy sh**. How long has this taken you?
For an entire week of just non-stop AFK.
Has it just been like AFK since it started?
Basically, yeah.
Damn.
This is it. It's happening.
You're a boys. There it is. Oh
Wow,
my
holy
god. And there's a holy yes, I've touched the world border.
To this day, he is the only player who has touched the world border. And that's because we realized how much storage that journey took, which was over 200 gigabytes. We kept it enabled because our server host told us that we had unlimited storage. Yet Zoki broke their physical capabilities. Godspeed to you, dude. But whatever the case was, we had to disable the Nether roof so the server didn't die from a lack of storage. The end. The end originally was a mining zone for players to use. It was plastered in giant holes and was used to mine vast amounts of resources like obsidian, which was much easier to access at spawn. And an enderman farm about 200 blocks away from the end spawn was also built to provide players with ender pearls. In general, the end was a dangerous place because of the hardcore nature and the amount of players lurking near it. But soon enough, players wanted to make something cool. So at the center of spawn, an arena was built out of obsidian, crying obsidian, and end stone bricks, which laid down right below the ender portal. Unfortunately, building a piece of infrastructure on a server without rules that was so easy to grief was hard, so they took a page from 2b2t and set out to build a massive water cube above it to stop lava casts. To build a water cube, you need to start off by building large walls to contain the water, and then place ice over that water and then break it. Place dirt at the bottom of the water tank and then plant kelp. Once the kelp is planted, wait for it to grow to the top or manually place it. Kelp turns flowing water blocks into source blocks. Get rid of the kelp, then break the walls on the kelp and you have a completely solid water cube. They started off by building a mini water cube, but decided to make it bigger and outlined it, and then filled that bigger outline with water, growing it with kelp. Once they were done, they destroyed the sand and placed sponges on the edges to make it more square. They finally rebuilt the spawn arena underneath it, and built a network of tunnels to make travel easy too. This giant water cube engulfed spawn and took the work of many players. It was also used as a fishing spot because why not? The dupe glitch. Okay, there weren't technically any dupes, however, Phosphorite accidentally duped the dragon egg. Okay, let me explain. So we created our own custom-made death ban plugin which when you died, they would immediately get banned and then drop your inventory. But there was a major problem. You kept the items in your inventory when you got banned. That meant that even though you dropped your inventory, it was still technically in the inventory of your player data. Although we did find this bug in testing, we really didn't think it mattered because the plan was to clear everyone's inventory if we ever did a mass unban wave. So we kind of forgot about it. But it came to bite us in the back later on. Phosphorite fell victim to a server glitch which made the server think that he died from fall damage. After analyzing the logs, we discovered it was a glitch and unbanned him since it wouldn't be too fair to ban a player who actually didn't die. He happened to be with his friend too, who picked up his stuff to stop it from despawning. You get where this is going. When he respawned, he had the dragon egg in his inventory and his friend had it too. They duped the dragon egg by accident, and now there are 2 dragon eggs in existence. Whoops. As the news of this dupe spread, 2 players decided to try it out themselves. They purposely ran into unloaded chunks which was known to kill you as a glitch. Yeah, they were successful. We didn't actually know about it until recently when we asked some of the players for screenshots and whatnot. So yeah, although there weren't any actual efficient dupes that could be used, this was still technically a dupe. P.S. Don't try this, we fixed it. Base griefs. On Anarchy servers, there is no objective, but many players choose to build bases. These bases need to be built far out from spawn to avoid them from getting found out though. And on a hardcore Minecraft server where every resource matters for survival, a base grief can be quite devastating, and like any Anarchy server, many bases have been griefed. If you remember Phosphorite from earlier, he made the mistake of letting in a traitor to his base who silently leaked his coordinates on an alt. These coordinates were then visited by some players who went ahead and griefed his base. Here are a few more public griefs. This space was owned by Practical Eevee, Tormor, and Xenonaut. Here was a little shack that was griefed. This was apparently a recruitment base from a group called Subnoa. There was also this strange ring-like base that was griefed too. Here are some screenshots of the grief. There are most likely many more, but these are just the ones that have been publicly shared, as I did not want to leak private affairs between players. The goal of this experiment was to see who could prevail on a server where death is not an option, and wanted to see who could truly break through the herd. So we have listed 8 different players who are each incredibly skilled in their own right. Out of the 14,000 players who joined the server, and the many who got banned and died, these are the top players. Tyra Vex and Tyrion, who both gathered nearly a stack of enchanted golden apples. These are incredibly rare and cannot be crafted on the server's version either. Gridlog, who helped with the Nether spawn and the highway system. Hotel Pool Water and _Nightcat_, the ruthless monsters who killed and banned over 100 different players each. JohnCar66, an architect who helped build public infrastructure like the Spawn Cafe, the Melon Ring Road, and the End Water Cube. Phosphorite, the obtainer of the dragon egg who duped it, along with being the first one to obtain the Nether Star. 2 Overkill, who built the globally used Enderman farm and was the first one to get the best most stacked gear. And last but not least, Zoki04, who reached the world border. There have been so many players banned from this server, I literally needed to use compressed air to scroll up the entire list because it is just so darn large. A total of 7,500 players have died, which is absolutely ridiculous. That is basically the conclusion of this experiment. 6 months of no rules and no extra lives, where many have died but only a few have prevailed. However, the experiment won't be ending. If you have played on the server before and you have been banned, you now have a second chance. We will be doing the highly anticipated unban wave, which means if you've died on the server before, you'll get unbanned. And you will now be unbanned after 30 days from death. Although it won't be truly hardcore anymore, that doesn't mean the server won't be difficult. And if you're wondering how long the server will last, well, basically we have a $75 donation goal, and as long as we reach that every month, the server will stay up. And to assure that the server will run smoothly with all the people who will watch this video and join, we will be moving from our old host to SparkToast dedicated servers to assure the server runs smoothly. And yeah, although SparkToast will be covering hosting costs, we have this goal to make sure everyone is still interested in the server, and 100% of it will go to the developers. Once we don't reach the $75 monthly goal, I'll either pass it on to the developers to carry on the server themselves until it finally dies, or I'll shut down the server and publicly release the world download, or maybe make a video touring the private bases on this server. I'm not quite sure yet though. Whatever the case is, here are the statistics. Unfortunately, that was all I could reasonably cover on YouTube. There are so many more amazing things on this server that I just couldn't cover, either for not being YouTube friendly, map art, being private projects that I didn't want leaked, and such. But whatever is left is up to you to discover. Join the server at horizonanarchy.net and climb to the top. Good luck. I have a Twitch that I plan on streaming on. Check that out. Oh, and if you guys want to cancel me, go check me out on Twitter. And yes, we managed to get a Discord server, but no talking about duping or whatever, since that isn't ULA compliant. Also, I do want to apologize for my lack of uploads. This had to be one of the most painful videos I've ever made. In fact, I had to remake it twice because I just wasn't satisfied with it. The video was absolutely horrible. I couldn't even watch it myself, so I bought Premiere Pro and decided to remake the video but make it much better this time. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I even got a microphone this time around. I don't know if you guys want it in the future or not, so let me know in the comment section. Anyways, if I manage to entertain you for 22 minutes, I think a 5-second subscription would be kinda cool. Oh, and don't forget to check out SparkToast or some of my other videos. See ya!